And we're live, gentlemen. Welcome to the Part-Time Podcast. I'm one of your four hosts, Matthew.
I'm McNasty.
Relic here.
Steve here.
All right. So as you'll be always able to find us at parttimepodcast.com. That's with one T. And you can follow us on Twitter at RealPTPodcast. They're over on Twitter, and we'll have links to everybody's Twitter as well up on the site. So, hello, guys.
Hello.
May the
I'd
fourth
be
be
an
with you.
amateur
Yes,
and
may
set
the
up all the sound stuff and then leave my phone on like a noob.
May the 4th be with you,
May
everybody.
the
Yes.
4th be with you.
May the
And
fourth
with you.
Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to the wife and 2 kids, Zach and Tyler. Gotta get that in, or I'll get in trouble.
Well,
Shout out to the empty soul.
the empty soul. Well, so as we were just talking about before we started recording here, Inhumans just released cast shot, I guess you'd call that, where it had the royal family all posing for Entertainment Weekly. And I think it looks pretty good.
I do too.
Black Bolt's not wearing his mask, but
Yeah. I couldn't tell if Gorgon, the black guy in there, if he has hooves, because the character does. Because when he stomps the ground, it makes seismic waves and all the stuff. But other than that, it looks really good.
Well, Marvel's pretty lenient about changing stories.
That's
for
true.
their- for their costume
True.
needs. So
Yeah. He could have just big old feet too.
well,
What are they going to do with the bulldog?
Oh yeah.
oh yeah, the
Lockjaw.
one that has that little
Lockjaw.
thing
Yeah, I don't
on his
know.
head.
Tuner.
I forgot about it. Yeah,
Oh.
he could show up. But
He'd be adorable.
yeah, he would.
I know. He'd be the
He's
Groot
humongous.
of that series.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
That's just smart thinking.
Yeah, and Lockjaw actually talks, but they never really have him do it. But
Now, does he do like Garfield thought
He's-
balloons? Is that how he speaks
no,
in the comic book?
he doesn't
or-
really have a whole lot of thought balloons or anything. He just, but they're towards here recently. They've had him talk. She had him for the longest time. Everybody just thought he was a dog, but he's an actual Inhuman.
Yeah. Of course, the Inhumans have one of my favorite characters. I don't know if he ever showed up outside of Silver Surfer stuff, but there's a character called Midnight, who is a undead Kree guy.
Discs on his
Yeah,
hands.
that had these flotation discs
Yeah,
on his hands and feet, and he was
really
badass.
sucked during his teen years.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Put a rub
yeah.
one out.
But then he had like a
I
sick
can't.
fascination with like dinnerware.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm supposed to eat off of it or hump it. This is rough.
So a lot of stuff that came out recently here. We got Guardians is going to be happening this weekend.
12/20 Saturday, baby.
Which we'll try and get together a first impressions video for our listeners here. Once Relic and McNasty are able to do it. It's all right. First shows.
Yeah.
All
By
right.
the way, shout out to McNasty for being able to purchase a Nintendo Mini.
Yeah,
That's impressive. That's a rarity.
I had spent about, 2 weeks railing against Nintendo for deciding to say, oh yeah, that whole cool ass thing we come out with, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And so one night I was over waiting to pick up my girlfriend, and they had an article on Yahoo. Oh, Best Buy's getting a shipment in. Good luck. And I called them. They're like, yeah, we'll be getting some in. They're doing vouchers at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I get there about 7:55. And it was funny because
Is there a line?
there were people sitting in chairs with
my
blankets like it was the Star Wars
Come on,
thing.
people.
And I'm not but the thing that I was excited about was that meant that the people that were going to get it, like I don't picture anybody putting that much effort in to make money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
'Cause
scalpers.
you get on Amazon, those things are going for like $250. And I got to tell you, after having the system, not worth $250.
No.
Solid $60 purchase.
Yeah.
Give it that. But that's the extent of it. Because, it's cool. It's cool knowing that I can play Punch-Out at any time.
Yeah.
That's nice in HD. Not
Is it the Mr. Perfect version or is it the
yeah,
Mike Tyson?
Mr. Dream. Mr. Dream.
See that I'm disappointed. If it's not Tyson, it's not real Punch Out.
They can't. Wow, guys. It's literally the most whitewashed Tyson ever. Though when you get to the end, it's just White Tyson, not Mike Tyson, White Tyson. In fact, why is that
Say
boxer
it with a lisp.
Yeah, my Tyson.
Listen here, White Tyson's gonna kick your ass.
It was a tiger.
And
Jungle Cat. no
also,
bats.
what everybody think of the Defenders?
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic, but I'm holding my breath because Iron Fist kind of sucked.
See, and I just finished Iron Fist. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was too bad. He does kind of come off like a petulant kid a lot of the time, and I think that's just because, like, might be overanalyzing a bit, but maybe he was just, like, socially arrested, so, like, basically he just stopped being him when he came to Kunlun, and like, then when he comes back, he's, like, awakening all that dormant shit, you know, so then he kind of turns back into this kid. I don't know.
Yeah. What'd you think there, Relic?
Well, the fact that he actually hit Luke Cage and did some damage
Yeah, that was
made
cool.
me optimistic
Well-
for the series because he had to use the Iron Fist after he got put in check. But I'm optimistic for it. I hope they work better on their fight choreography and make Iron Fist not such a bitch. But,
Well, yeah, and I heard from a lot of different sources that reporting that they basically gave the cast 6 weeks to try and train for that show, and then we're giving them fight choreography on set 15 minutes before cameras rolled. So it's understandable why they weren't able to perform the choreography, but Iron Fist is supposed to be a better martial artist than Daredevil, and I don't feel like cinematically that came through.
I think that I thought the fight choreography was okay. I honestly, Luke Cage has been my favorite. I don't know. I just really like Luke Cage. Always have. He's kind of like the coolest character ever in my brain. But I did like the characterization of Kingpin in Daredevil. Like he kind of was what made that. In fact, when he showed up in the second season, I like marked out. Yeah. You know. And then he just like manhandles everybody, and that was just a thing of beauty when him and Matt Murdock were in that little confession room, and he just, like, you could see, for a blind dude, he transmits fear through his eyes really good when he's seeing what Wilson's going to be up to when he gets out.
Yeah.
But the only thing I thought was weird about the Defenders trailer was Matt Murdock with the old mask back again in a suit.
Yeah.
Getting ready to fight crime.
How that's going to happen?
I think speculation is they get caught off guard.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a theory that they're like in a scenario because the first clip before they released the trailer, they were all in an elevator, and then Jessica Jones jumps up and punches out a camera, and then they released the trailer and it has them coming from an elevator system, walking down a hall, and he has the mask, he has a stocking cap that I bet he had in his pocket, just pulled down over his face.
Who's Sigourney Weaver playing? That is Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, I
Well-
don't know who she is.
well-
She's like the bad guy now.
The whole thought, and I've heard this explained, is that all the hands that we've seen right now have been separate groups. So there's going to be the 5 fingers of the hand, and she may be the
palm.
The palm, you know.
They can't use the
whatever.
foot. Oh
Yeah.
wait, no, they
That's-
can't.
The foot's a parody on the hand, if I remember right.
Happy Stick's back. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
me too.
Yeah.
Sticks
And
back,
Elektra.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Elektra, although she wasn't one of my favorite parts of the series. The hand I find to be
Red latex is always
kind
my
of.
favorite part.
I kind of feel like the hand's kind of boring, to be honest.
But they need a mass group so they can do those big old group battle shots. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm kind of worried about with Infinity War,
Yeah.
because it's all of these people against Thanos. How are you going to have that awesome epic? Oh, we're all battling people moment when it's just Thanos.
Well, and I imagine they're trying to wait until contract negotiations come out and be like, "How's this fight gonna go? It's up to you."
Yeah. But Thanos is so badass. Anyway,
He is.
I mean,
And
he's just he's so cool and so badass. It's just
People are gonna die.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that Robert Downey Jr. is gonna be done, and so is
Chris Evans.
Chris
Chris
Evans said
Evans.
he's
Well-
done.
because he's gonna be done as well.
I listened to an interview and he was saying he was willing to do another 10 Captain Americans.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean,
Give me
for
money.
like $76 billion, I would too. But with the way that things are going in the comic now, and they're just announced yesterday that they're splitting up Cap and having his own Hydra Avengers with like Black Widow and Spider-Man and a handful of other people.
Oh.
I don't imagine them going down that road. I mean, I can see Marvel Cinematic Universe keeping him as a goody-goody, but
Right. And just keep in mind that Marvel's been using their print universe as a testing ground for storylines on their cinematics. So not everything that happens in comic books works, but they're just trying to take some risks, I think.
Plus, we got female Thor and female Iron Man in the comics right now, so I imagine those going down rather soon, too.
Having read Unworthy Thor, I actually like Jane Foster better as Thor than Thor.
You shut your face.
Because Thor
that.
is literally such a weakling, man. Just
Oh my God!
Everybody just takes his damn hammer. Like, think about it. In comic books, Odin has made a hammer for all the people that beat him. And who was it? We got Redhead Cameraman, right?
Red Norval.
And then we got what are the other two guys' names?
Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill obviously is way better than Thor. And then you've got he's the guy that was impersonating Thor during the Infinity Wars.
Eric Masterson.
Yeah, Eric Masterson. And then there was one more after that I can think of. So that's like 4 people that have beaten Thor, and Odin's been like, whoa. Let me make you a hammer. You just leave my kid alone.
We're running out of Dwarven metal, okay?
Or it's like, Thor, look, you got to start weightlifting or something. Take a martial arts class. And at the rec center.
Cut the feet. I'm killing this guy. Talking about my guy there.
Start watching Conor McGregor. He's one of ours.
That's right. Yeah. Thor and Conor McGregor train. That's the next one coming up.
Listen, Harry, you Norse son of a bitch.
No,
I'm gonna punch you 47 times while you're doing your fucking crunches.
It's going to be Thor, Conor McGregor in the mountain.
yeah.
The Mighty Sore. That'll be like the 4-issue part.
Yeah.
The Mighty Sore.
No, that would be fun to watch. But I'm interested, definitely interested in seeing Thor Ragnarok.
Oh God,
Man.
Then that trailer came out.
I can't believe that. I mean, Steve was the first person I texted. I was like, I don't care if I'm waking him up. I feel bad. But I kind of don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I was like, did you see it in 5 minutes? Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
It was so 80s though.
Oh,
it was
man.
so freaking 80s. It was so beautiful.
the thing I still don't understand about, not the trailer itself, but since it is Star Wars Day, is why didn't Star Wars step their game up, knowing what had just came out and how awesome it was?
Yeah.
Right.
It took away from the Star Wars trailer because I was still buzzing over Thor.
Yeah, I would have released them in opposite order.
Well, on Star Wars' behalf, them and Microsoft teamed up, and this month they're giving away 2 free games on the Xbox One.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Which ones?
Force Unleashed 2 and the Lego Star Wars Complete Saga.
Ooh.
So
Those Lego Star Wars games aren't punks. Those are
the
good
Lego
games.
Star Wars games
They're
will be out
good.
on the
They're
16th
great.
this month.
I played through them. Like their little animated cutscenes are what make that game.
Oh, they're clever and funny.
On the DC front of things, reviews came in. I read last night on IGN said that first watch through of Wonder Woman likened it to a Marvel blockbuster. So
Nice.
All right. Well, I mean,
Nice.
good
That's
news.
pretty
Hey,
sad though that they're like, oh, it's like a Marvel movie. They're not even like it's like any of them. They're just like
DC wants to hear that
DC
so
has
bad.
failed so hard on
Yeah.
everything except for their animated films.
yeah. What was it? Was
Yeah.
it Movie Bob said at the beginning of his latest review? He was like, "It's not even fair to judge Marvel movies against other comic book movies. You just have to judge Marvel movies against Marvel movies."
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a Pixar thing. Oh, it's the greatest animated thing to come out this year. You don't say.
They have a recipe for success. They know what they're doing. At this point, it's just how well are they doing it?
Yeah.
You know,
Although-
Marvel's only weaknesses are sequels and villains. They can't make a good fucking villain to save their life.
Right.
And
Now,
their
Hela looks
sequels,
good.
for the most part, their sequels just suck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I will-
Thor Ragnarok. That might be
It
the
has the
redeeming
potential
factor.
to be good.
And of course-
I like the second Thor.
Now, the Captain
and
America
Winter
movies.
Soldier was better than the
Winter
first
Soldier
one.
was better than the first one.
And Civil War was better than
So,
Winter Soldier.
yeah.
So, I mean, it was
Civil War was basically a mini Avengers. Okay?
Yeah,
It was what
fantastic.
Avengers. Let's be honest. As much as
Avengers
I actually
2.5.
I like Ultron, this was a better Avengers 2 movie.
Yeah.
Than
But
Yeah.
the Iron Man films, the Hulk films were all just terrible.
See,
after
I
the
didn't
first
like
one.
Iron. I mean, I didn't I didn't hate
First
him.
of
or
Iron
anything.
Man was amazing.
First Iron Man was good. Second one was it was okay. Third one I was kind of like I actually liked it more than I did the second one. But I think it's because that's that Shane Black dude directed or whatever. And
Yeah.
he's anything
Okay.
I've ever seen him do has been pretty awesome.
well, that scene where he's
Nice
tied to the bed and
Yeah.
he's calling the pieces of the suit and he's using them one at a time as they're coming in. that scene is amazing.
Yeah. I thought 3 was good. I don't like the way they handled the Mandarin. I mean,
Yeah, they
when
fucked
Ben
over the
Kingsley was
Mandarin.
mean at first, I thought, hey, this is a good Mandarin. And then they made him a clown British actor, and everything. Like, oh, come on. You know, the Mandarin's got the 10 rings and everything else. I mean, he should
Yeah,
be.
but then they kind of established that there's a real Mandarin out
Yeah,
there. So I
yeah,
thought that
so-
was cool because
I'd like to see him pick that back up again.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
oh
was-
again,
my,
they
what
can't
if one
do
of the
villains.
what if one of the stones is on Mandarin's ring and they have to just kind of drop him somewhere?
Thanos will find it.
Another person that's going to die, the Vision.
Well,
Yeah.
supposedly die.
He has no choice but to. He's got an
Yeah, you
Infinity
get
Stone
that-
in his head.
James
is one.
James Gunn confirmed Adam Warlock coming for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Nice.
Yep. Oh, and
Can't have Thanos without Adam Warlock.
well, Vision could always become Mainframe again.
Well, see, Mainframe is supposed to show up in Guardians 2. For
As a different character.
Yeah, for some reason voiced by Miley Cyrus. I don't. Still
I'm
can't
sorry, what?
Figure that? Yeah, I know.
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, I know. So I don't know.
But maybe that'll be the Jared Leto of the Marvel universe.
Maybe. And then supposedly, well, I shouldn't say supposedly, Kurt Russell himself spoiled that we will see a Ego of the Living Planet. That he's like a
So that's like the human, like
He's
kind of
like-
like how Beyonder has to take a human form
Right.
to.
right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which that's fine because I wanted to see Ego as a planet. So I'll be happy with that.
Anybody when they were kids do that game where you're like, well, I'm this guy, so I've got the power to do this.
Oh
We
Yep.
always hated it when our friends pulled the Beyonder card. It just pissed you off. You're like, oh,
yeah.
Beyonder,
Yeah,
you're
we-
gone.
We
One
wouldn't.
above
like-
all.
It's
And
like,
then you-
Yeah.
well, One Above All didn't exist when I was a kid. It was Living Tribunal was pretty much top of the food chain back then.
See, when I was a little kid, we didn't have hardly any of that. But I'm old.
You guys just had.
Superman.
You guys just had.
Superman wins all fights.
Superman and Batman. Yeah.
Unless there's a pebble around that's green and glowing.
No, yours was
Yeah.
you guys would try to get back. You guys would try to do that game and it'd be like, back to the coal mine, bitches.
That's right.
You're not
That's
getting
right.
you're not getting your grits if you don't get on that coal mine.
Child labor law.
Yeah. Yeah, back in Steve's day, they didn't even have comic books. This guy would roll
No,
up with a
barely.
box, and they'd
Yeah.
have two puppets come up.
Do
Yeah.
you want to eat some weather or do you want to get the belt?
Yeah. Ben Grimm looked like clay. No,
Yeah.
Rocks.
More from the DC side, since I'm like the only DC big fan here. I watched the Judas contract, Teen Titan Judas
Oh, yeah.
contract, a couple days ago. I can see why it got some negative reviews. I've never actually read the Judas contract.
I
the
have. It's
comic,
pretty good.
but I can see why people were mad. They made Deathstroke sort of a chomo. I mean,
Well, he was in the comic.
yeah.
I mean, in the comic book storyline, he's basically a statutory rapist because like the chick's like 16 or something like that.
14 or 15-year-old
Yeah.
Tara.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
and she's like in love with him and all that stuff. And
and he's like, yeah, just let's fulfill this contract, and then you can bed me down, you little nymph. I don't.
But what in that comic book did Beast Boy and Tara have a relationship?
In the movie, Beast Boy had a huge crush, and he got his first kiss from her
Yeah,
before she went all self-sacrificing and killed
'Cause-
herself.
because to this day, I think Teen Titans really does not get better than the early 2000s animated series. For it, I mean, they had
The
Tara
book is
and
really
everything.
good. The comic is a pretty darn good book.
Yeah, I had issue. What was what was the one where Damien joins the Teen Titans animated one?
oh, that was
came
the
out?
Omen series. That's pretty good.
In the comic, yeah, the Teen Titans. What's that? Bad Blood or something like that?
Yeah, something like
Or-
that. But yeah, I watched that animated
Oh
thing,
no,
and,
it's Teen Titans versus the Justice
Yeah,
League.
yeah.
There it was.
and that one I just kind of rolled my eyes a little bit. I don't.
hate Damian Wayne. I wish that Deathstroke would have punched his face into a new millennium.
Yeah.
But the fact that they brought Dick Grayson back to be second in command to Starfire in the new the Judas
Yeah.
contract, I liked because
Nice.
I can't stand Damian.
See,
And
Really?
I don't like adult Starfire.
You mean Starfire? What? I
In
like
in the animated thing, she just seems so. It's like seeing someone that I knew as a teenager as like a mom now or whatever. It's like oh, you're so responsible. That's such a turnoff.
as opposed to like Ariel brained Little Mermaid that can shoot fire from her eyes. Did
Yeah.
you know what a fucking
Yes.
fork was for?
Yes, exactly. That was
That's
where
a
she
turn
was
on.
the
You
best.
could just go hang outside the mental ward and fucking
Yeah.
throw
Hey.
candy on the ground and pick them up all day.
Hey, don't alert people to my, to my hunting ground.
Got candy in the van.
Got a popsicle in the freezer.
Reach down in the basement, fish for you, son bitch.
Let's have a contest, see who can take the most Tylenol PM.
What else do we got on our list of discussion there, Matthew?
Well, I believe the next thing that we need to discuss would be...
Did you
Well, while
turn
we're...
into the counselor from South Park? Okay. Would be.
Drums, man.
Drums, man. But,
You just make a whole
Mystery
song.
Science Theater 3000 just came back out with
On
Patton
Netflix.
Oswalt and Felicia
Day.
Day as the new Mads. You guys ever watch the original?
I used to watch
I
the
never
original
did.
a little bit.
I love the original.
Oh, man.
I like the new one mostly because Patton Oswalt and Felicia Day. I haven't sat down and actually watched through it. I got like halfway through the first episode and it's right after we got off work and I fell asleep.
I'll tell you my favorite 3 episodes so far in the series, which is Cry Wilderness, which is the world's worst Bigfoot movie. Like, I feel bad for these guys. It's like, spend all their money on the camera. They didn't have anything for a Bigfoot.
I think Dear God No would take that one.
I haven't seen that yet. Did you see it?
No, not yet.
You're like, oh, poor you for not seeing
They
it.
should do the
we
new
were so
Fantastic
excited.
Four.
I was excited, and then I saw the trailer, and it was awful rapey, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to. I just don't really need to see the rape stuff on my horror movies. I just like murder. I don't really get into the whole like, I don't know. It's I guess it's this weird moral conflict I have with that kind of stuff. I don't mind watching people's heads come off their bodies. That shit makes me giggle, but you know, I mean, you're gonna ruin my comedy with the rape scenes. It's
Today,
just
how
not.
to make a murderer.
Well, to be fair, Ash vs. the Evil Dead has that tree rape scene. And,
See, I never-
that was in the original Evil Dead as well.
Or no,
Yeah.
that's what I was talking about, sorry. The series is great, by the way.
You say that was
But,
in the Evil Dead and
yeah,
the
yeah.
Evil Dead remake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Which I preferred the remake over the original.
no,
I really did.
no,
Yeah.
it didn't have any of the humor. It didn't have any of the
It
humor.
had the buckets of blood and gore, and it had some humor. You just have to have a dark sense of humor.
Of
It's
course,
just-
they had to stab somebody in the eye, which grossed
And-
me out.
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
let's have a discussion here for a second on what makes a leading man. Like when I go back and I watch those '80s things, those guys are so cheesy, but somehow, to me, they're pulling it off. So you got like Ash or
So
Matrix.
false sense of charisma. That's how Kirk
Yeah.
handled
Yeah.
everything in Star Trek.
Well, you see, and that's the whole thing that the '80s had. You know, all of your main characters and things, genre wide, doesn't even matter if it was a horror movie, an action movie, whatever. It was always these like, because nowadays you got these like anti-heroes, like they're just like, yeah, kind of, I don't know,
I just
I'm
wanna
just
be
really
left alone, they
troubled,
won't
and
leave me
man, I
alone.
just
Yeah.
want to stay away from each other. And honestly, Ash was kind of like the start of what those eventually evolved into, I think, because all your action guys back then were like, oh, well, I can just fly a plane now. That's what I need to do. But like Ash was this dude who sucked in every other aspect of life, but
Killing Deadites.
killing like deadites. Like it was just like all of a sudden this was the one thing he
Yeah.
could do.
Although the series has kind of an interesting explanation for why he's so good at that. Apparently, like the book and him are basically bonded, so technically the Deadites can't kill him, but they can
Tell
make
that
his
to his
life a
hand.
living.
Tell that to his hands. Sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
No,
they-
he did that to himself, though. If you
It
think
was
about
cursed.
it, yeah, but he did it to himself. So
Yeah, I think we all went through our teen years. We know what a cursed hand's like.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's have a mind of their own.
Great,
Yeah.
great show. I have to say,
Speaking of rapists,
props to Xena for keeping it tight.
Lucy Lawless.
Oh yeah, she's
Should have seen her in Spartacus.
Oh,
I was
she's-
like, whoa,
She's
wait.
great naked in Spartacus. She's
Yep.
awesome.
She's just a great
She
actress.
was good as a
She is.
dominatrix in Euro Trip.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
She-
I didn't see her in.
She's a really good actress.
She's good on Parks and Rec. She tamed Ron Swanson.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
and
impressive.
she was really good in all that stuff. And I tried to follow Hercules. Was Kevin Sorbo, but he's into these
No, he's terrible now.
he's into these super Christian movies
He's like
now.
he's like a muscular Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. That's exactly. That's
know?
the perfect description.
I remember going and seeing Cole the Conqueror.
That's a good movie.
It wasn't terrible.
You're talking about the old '80s one, right? With the
It was
with the
90s.
glaive.
It was 90s. No, you're talking Kroll.
Kroll, sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
Cole the Conqueror
That's
came out in the
Sam Sorbo.
90s and it
Yeah,
had Sorbo playing Cole.
that's right.
Yeah.
I was excited because it was a Robert E. Howard character, so I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, what's this going to be like?" And it wasn't bad.
It was alright. But that Hercules series was amazing back
It was
in the
good,
day.
yeah.
Back in the day. But all right, so moving on slightly, what do you guys think about Ben Affleck getting kind of putting his hands up in surrender on the whole Batman?
Oh,
Movie.
when they back the Brinks truck from him, he might change his mind.
Well, I don't
You know.
think so because they're already hiring people
Really?
to go in around him. Yeah.
What happened?
Well,
Supposedly
he's
he wants out.
he wants out of the Batman role.
I'm like, oh, he didn't even want to play Batman now. He didn't
Supposedly.
want
Well,
Yeah.
he was writing and directing the movie, and now he's just starring in the movie. Like him and Warner Brothers cannot meet eye to eye on it, and
See, there you go. The
And-
suit's screwing it up again.
and I will give Ben Affleck the benefit of the doubt because
Oh, yeah.
he did amazing with Argo.
He's
You
an
know?
amazing writer. I mean, he
Yeah.
and Matt Damon, when they were first starting acting, wrote Good Will Hunting. which
Yeah.
And won an
like an Oscar for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of flack for nobody believing these two kids from Beantown could
to. He
write.
was a Jersey Girl. That show was.
yeah, he's
The
good and
reason-
everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
But-
he wrote The Town and was in it, and it was
Yeah.
great.
Town kicked ass.
Yeah.
I like
but-
Ben Affleck as an actor. As long as you don't get in the backseat of a Volkswagen with him, you're good. But
But there you go. The suits that just they think they know.
I
They're
feel
stupid.
like the DCU should just scrap their cinematic universe altogether.
And relaunch it with Wonder Woman.
And relaunch
Sony's done it with
Wonder
Spider
Woman.
Man now. They're going on their third time. I mean, it's possible. It's,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, this is. I liked him as Batman. I didn't like Batman vs Superman with all the murdering Batman was doing, but you know, it's whatever.
I mean, I was fine with the fight scene because I will give Batman v Superman that. The scene where Batman is rescuing Superman's mom.
Oh man,
That was
is
what you
amazing.
want to see.
Yeah.
I just want 30 minutes of that.
Yeah, I want 30 minutes of Batman just
punching
wailing.
people through floors and things.
Yeah.
you
What
know?
What's your favorite saying there, Relic? Justice has a price.
And that price is goddamn hospital bills. Right? So he won't kill you, but he has no problem with breaking both your legs and arms just so you can't run away so the cops can arrest you.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't kill, but he's not against maiming you, which is why I was okay with Batman vs. Superman, him branding people and things
Yeah.
like that, you know?
Yeah.
Why
it's-
would villains kill people that were branded by Batman?
Because he branded them after they snitched. It marked them as a snitch.
Oh,
Snitch mark so they can
okay.
get killed in prison.
Okay, I got you now. I
It's
got
like
you.
street rules.
Batman sponsored by State Farm.
And
Jingle.
DC and their casting choices. I mean,
Ben Affleck makes a great Batman.
Yes,
he
does.
makes a great
He does.
Batman, but Jared Leto as Joker.
I want to write
Jesse
the Suicide
Eisenberg.
Squad off. I want to write the Suicide Squad off as not part of the DCU, but I can't because they put Ben Affleck in the fucking movie, which
Yeah,
just tied
which
them
was
both together.
That was the best part of the movie when
I
they
still
were doing
refuse to see that movie.
when
I
they
won't
were
do it.
doing the little stories. When they were doing the little stories, do you guys remember in the animated series, the Good Batman animated series, they had an episode where all the villains were sitting around playing poker with each other,
Yeah.
and they were all telling stories about how they almost killed Batman. It was kind of a little mini anthology of Batman stories. That's what I think Suicide Squad should have been.
I think Suicide Squad should have been anything but the new 52. Honestly, if they would have went with the original
But
and
they're
Harley Quinn,
using
and,
the New 52 in the whole cinematic universe.
I know they are. Well, they're mixing the new 52 with several graphic novels to make up Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad. They're using like the outfits and the personification, the appearance of the characters from the new 52, but they're just using crap storylines. Like the storylines in New 52 are, to me, terrible because they just ruin a bunch of characters and they rewrite their backstories and everything like that. I don't like the new, I want to say anime style drawings that they're using for the characters. I don't like the poppiness of it. I liked my DC a lot darker and grittier, but
Yeah, well, the thing you gotta remember is one, all the artists coming up now are heavily influenced by the anime boom of the
The
the late 90s, early 2000s. So you're gonna have manga creeping into the art style. I think it's just inevitable.
That was the worst thing about the new Ghost Rider was it was this anime style that I don't know. Like I remember when I was growing up and I was like drawing and like I'd look at comic books and be like that would be something to aspire to.
Yeah, it was
And then I look
gritty
at-
and realistic.
And I look at comic books. Well, even if they're cartoony, because my favorite,
Hold on a second.
my favorite comic book guy is still Eric Powell. You know,
The Goon.
and his. It's kind of like if Frazetta was a
Caricatures
little
almost.
exaggerated, like an exaggerated Frazetta. But now I look at comic books and I'm like, God, I could draw this, and that's not a compliment.
No, because
Yeah.
I mean,
you're a great artist, and
Yeah.
it's just that, like you were saying when we were kids, they just had like the Sandman comics. They were just
Yeah.
so out there, amazing in the details and everything like that. I mean, everything's computer generated anymore.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of hand drawn comics going on, or
Well-
hand drawn cartoons for that
Well,
matter.
can I would like to interject. There are web comics out there now. So now artists are starting their own brands, their own universes, their own comics that are done in their own style online. The only part that sucks is it's one person working on a comic instead of a team, so it's hard to get a whole issue a month kind of a thing.
Yeah, but with the problem with them using computers and everything like that is unless you have one guy working or a team of people working on the same picture for like 24 hours a day for a month, you're not going to get the depth you got of one guy sitting in his basement with
a drafting table, cigarettes, and some soda.
a surge and a carton of Marlboro Reds to get you through the weekend while you power through the first 3 pictures that look like you raised Da Vinci from the dead to help you draw. There was just a lot more depth and greatness in it.
Right, but there's less money in physical in comic books now. Like not in comic book universes, like the movies and the merchandising, the Legos, all
$1 billion
that,
companies, yeah.
being a multi-billion-dollar companies, but they're still not selling that many issues. If you get down to the brass tacks of it,
Well, that's because I honestly think part of the problem was, and I noticed this when the Marvel movies first kind of started. You're a little kid, and you go to see the Incredible Hulk movie, and you're like, oh my, thanks mom and dad for taking me to this. Can we go get a comic book? And they're like, sure. And then they take you to the comic book store, and on the comic is Red Hulk. And you're like, this isn't the green dude that was fighting that other kind of demon-looking dude. This is like a red guy, And so, I wish they would have synced up more. And I don't know if it's still like that. I've noticed now that like Guardians, they completely retooled the comic book, so it's
Yes.
kind of more like these
And
movie
that drives me
characters.
crazy.
well,
I can't stand that.
I don't know what the impetus in the comic books was to change the team, like to get rid of Vance.
Well, that's
and,
because
all them.
the original Guardians are in the 31st century. This is a modern day.
Yeah,
so they had
that's
to
true.
come
But
do-
they have Yondu in there, who's
True.
from the 31st
True.
century
and there's Drax.
team, and the new
Drax-
team that they announced, Charlie 27, Mainframe. Again, that's all 31st century
Yeah, we'll
Because
see.
people.
Marvel loosely bases it on comics. They don't go full ham into it, And
Right.
DC just throw shit at the wall and what sticks they use. I don't know.
Now, keep
So-
in mind, I love Chris Pratt as Star Lord,
Oh, the
but
casting of Guardians is amazing.
I really would have loved to see Major Vance Astro on the.
Oh, they'll get to it, I'm sure, eventually.
Or even
'Cause they-
Hollywood. I want to see Hollywood.
Because they
so
said
bad.
that they said by in after Volume 3 there's going to be a whole new batch of Guardians, so they're going to change it up a lot.
Well, Drax and I think Gamora are supposed to die in Infinity War. So
I mean, it would make
there's
sense
that.
for Drax too, but
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It's
that's
just rumors I heard a
speculation.
couple years ago.
That's
Yeah.
just speculation.
Now, yeah, on the speculative front, if they do kill Drax, are they going to make him go out like kind of a champ, or do you think they'll just make him kind of a horribly expendable, like,
Oh.
I've come to kill you, Thanos, and he's like, thump, dead.
I was
That-
gonna say, I
I think
picture
about a
him
champ.
going full ham and turning into a scapegoat. Like
Yeah.
I picture him like jumping off a building or something like that with his daggers in his hand, coming down and just getting vaporized in a backhand or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the
He's gonna be
Sentinel
the-
versus Wolverine thing from Days of Future Past. Just like,
He's going to be the first death, I bet you.
Because he's gonna be the first one to jump in there.
yeah.
Well,
I
decided
don't know.
how he
They
wants-
might kill Vision as well first because he has
Well,
to get the
Thanos
Infinity
gonna
Stone.
rip that stone right out of his head.
Yeah, it's
Then
going to be
Doctor
interesting to see
Strange
where
is-
they're at on that.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is going to get messed up pretty
Yeah.
hardcore to get his.
Right, and that's what has me worried. Just because, but if you go back to the '90s comic books, they had the Silver Surfer being a huge part of the Infinity War, and he
Yeah,
is
that's
not.
That's not going to happen at all.
Yeah, and so that makes me nervous, especially since Silver Surfer is bar none my favorite Marvel superhero.
But they didn't really have the Guardians involved in the Infinity War in the comic either, so
No.
that's
You
kind
make
of
a
your
good point.
replacement, you know.
You make a good
Yeah.
point, sir. But nobody can replace Silver Surfer in my heart.
Some more speculation. Since they gave one of the Infinity Stones to the Nova Corps in the first Guardians,
Nova Corps is getting.
is Nova himself going to make an appearance in
That could be.
That would be
the
funny
Infinity
if,
War or the Guardians?
Yeah.
if John C. Reilly shows up as the Nova.
That
dude.
would be the greatest casting ever.
I would love that.
More
actually.
John C. Reilly, the better. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a pretty decent, serious role. Apparently, he does really good in Gangs of New York.
He was in Gangs of New York and What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I mean, What's Eating Gilbert Grape wasn't such a super serious role, but it was a good role for him.
He was good in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, great in Boogie Nights.
Don't even start. Don't even start. Don't even start.
You got the touch.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I love it. But well, he's great in Kong Skull Island. He's the
Yeah.
heart of that movie. There's a
A
scene
lot
where,
of comedy in it though, but it was
Yeah.
a lot of serious.
There's
he
one
played
scene where-
insane really well.
where he talks about what he's missed and his wife and everything. I mean, it's he really does great.
Plus, he was Steve Brule.
Steve Brule.
For your health. You guys
Oh,
really...
on Cartoon Network. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm with,
I
Yep.
hate his entire body of work on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, the
Wow.
10 minute
Was it
Wow.
like just that and Tom Goes to the Mayor and on all those shows that came out kind of in that block? I just want to hit with a baseball bat. Like I wish I could wait for them in the parking lot outside Cartoon Network.
with a sock full of nickels.
Damn.
Yeah,
all those guys and George
it
Lucas walked by.
It would ruin because it used to be like late night on the weekends. You would have like all these. You'd have Adult Swim happen, and you'd have these amazing shows, and then they cut off the Sunday Adult Swim, and then you start getting these weird shows, and some of them were good. Space Ghost, legendary, but then they
Ghost
started
Coast
getting
to
into
Coast
this
is
other
one of my
stuff.
favorite things that Adult Swim ever put out. I loved it.
And then they got like
I want Space Ghost to make a
Squidbillies and.
comeback.
Yeah.
Not just
doubt
What about
I would
Aqua
doubt
Teen
he does.
Hunger Force?
Aqua Teen was great.
Aqua Teen was the best thing to come out of
I've
that
never seen
whole series.
I don't know. Metalocalypse was amazing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my
Well,
god.
Aqua Teen and Metalocalypse were pretty good, but they had a bunch of other shows on there that
Tim
literally.
and Eric, awesome show. I love. See, I know this is exactly what you guys hate, but if I was like 15 and had access to like all the stuff that was at a UHF channel, I would be doing that same crap. So I think it was just kind of like joy nostalgia for me.
I like Moral Oral too. Thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was funny.
Moral
That
Oral
very
was always pretty funny.
funny. So, throw it out there. I want a Booster Gold movie.
I would like to see a Booster Gold movie.
There was a casting rumor on
who
that.
was
I
it
thought
up?
it was good.
He's a wrestler, The Miz. The Miz
Yeah,
wants
The
to play
Miz.
Booster Gold.
Yeah,
He
would
wants
be
to do a
good.
Booster Gold movie.
Does anybody really want to be Booster Gold? I mean, come on.
Miz
I
does.
think that Nathan Fillion should be Booster Gold, personally.
Too
if he
too
was
late.
Like 10 years
Too
younger.
late. Too late, sir. Because he is already Wonder Man, right?
At least
Or-
he was Wonder Man on a poster. Simon Williams on the poster.
yeah, he was Simon
Whether-
Williams.
Whether they go full circle with that, I
There's
don't know.
multiple actors
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are
Yeah.
bridging the gap between Marvel and DC.
Okay, name one that's
Josh
currently
Brolin.
that's currently contracted as a headliner for both universes.
Josh Brolin.
No, but he's still in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I know.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and
Green Lantern.
He
Green
is
Lantern.
still Hal Jordan in the DCU.
no,
Yes, he
no,
is.
no.
Yeah.
Yes,
No.
he is.
As
No.
of now.
He is technically
No.
still under contract for the sequel.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that would be good. I thought
That-
he
Yes,
was
he
good.
is. They're
I like the
talking
Green
about
Lantern.
bringing him back for the Green Lantern movie supposed to come out in 2020. as Hal Jordan and somebody else for Jon Stewart. I think Common's supposed to be Jon Stewart.
Well, and I had heard that they had already canned the Green Lantern movie.
No, they still have it in 2020 is when its release date.
And of course,
Well, when
Hal
Justice
Jordan
League
will
comes
star
out
in
and
it.
is the most horrible thing ever, we'll see.
are you going to see the Justice League movie there, Relic?
I don't want to support anything from the DCU. I
Bet you
might
will.
go see Wonder Woman just
Oh, I think
because
Wonder
Gal
Woman.
Gadot is
That should be.
gorgeous, but
She's a great actress. Great actress.
Yeah.
she is
That's good stuff.
She
That's
is
good
very
I like her body of work.
she is very talented, so we say. I might go see it just to give the
Well,
worst
here-
shit hammer review I could possibly
Here,
imagine.
here's the thing: is because now we're doing the podcast, you're gonna have to see it.
Listen, I was outside yesterday.
It's for
and
work,
I saw,
James.
I saw two
Or
cats
relic.
fucking, okay? I saw two cats fucking yesterday, all right? That is 20 times better than the Justice League movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to do it for work now.
Well, here's the thing that blows my mind about the whole Justice League movie is that,
There's no Martian Manhunter.
well,
Yeah.
I mean,
Sweep inside.
yeah, let's go with that.
He's only the heart of
But
the Justice League. That's all.
Flash and Cyborg look like different colored versions of the same character.
well, here's the
Cyborg
thing
looks
with Flash.
terrible.
Okay, here's the thing with Flash. All right, one, Cyborg is a Teen Titans character. Let's just get that out of the way. He's the
not,
best
though.
character.
He's an actual part of the
Yeah, he
league.
is
He's
now,
the
yeah.
best character, one of the best characters out of Teen Titans. You separate Cyborg and Beast Boy, you might as well just,
You know what DC should have done, which would have been a game changer? They should have used their TV people in the Justice League
yeah.
movie.
That was the point I
That
was
would
working towards. Is
bridge
how
the
do
gap.
you not have Flash, which pulls in? I think they said like 4 million people an episode, something like that on the CW, which is huge. And you're just like, hey, all you huge fans of the DC TV universe,
We don't care about you.
why don't you
No.
just go into your homes and not buy movie tickets?
Yeah, they could have had Arrow. They could have had Flash. They could have had all those people in the movie.
Right.
It would have opened up the door for like the Defenders to be in Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know.
See, their biggest problem with screwing up was having a young Superman and an old Batman. All right,
Yeah.
Superman doesn't really age, so I can
No.
get them just keeping Henry Cavill around for a while until he starts to get some crow's feet or something like that they can't polish out. But having an old Batman that's already in his, I'd say, mid-40s limits the time frame that they can have the Justice League rolling.
Yeah.
Because Batman was about, I want to say 30 or something like that when the Justice League should have been forming. Chronologically, that's how it should have been.
Well,
And then they're going to cast young everybody else in the
Yeah.
series. Like, if they're ever going to bring in Green Arrow, they're going to have to get an old Green Arrow, like an old person to play Green Arrow, like Robert Yules or something like that, to play Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Because they
Relic, come up to the mic.
they've been doing the same amount of crime fighting for the same amount of years. I mean,
Yeah.
comic-wise, it's Superman then Batman, but you got Green Arrow's going to have to be an older person. Wonder Woman's immortal. She's a piece of rock. She don't age. She might... I don't understand why she doesn't get shorter, though. I mean, with weather and everything. But that's a different subject.
She's rocking.
Superman doesn't age. Martian Manhunter doesn't age. Cyborg...
Superman does age. He just ages super slow.
Superman ages only around kryptonite.
Well, I don't know, because in the original Batman v Superman graphic novel, he's pretty gray.
I think that was just inking.
Yeah.
Because he was still all super buff and had his, like, jullet going on, his weird
Yeah,
mullet
that's
he had
true.
going and everything.
That's true, but
80s Superman and all that.
Well, in,
but
in that DC 1 Million book, he's in it. He'd been living in the heart of the sun. He had a house
Golden
there.
Superman?
Yeah, Golden Superman. So yeah, he's immortal.
where you could
Well-
make a separate planet, bring back the dead, turn
Yeah.
back time and all
Well,
that. Superman's
and-
just
Yeah.
God now.
if I was redoing the DCU, I think I would go with the, what was that miniseries that Superman was in that I liked? It was like, it was kind of a Smallville feel to it.
Earth 1, wasn't it?
No, it was American Alien.
Oh,
That's what it
American
was.
Alien.
It was
That's
just
right.
a 6-part miniseries telling a slightly different origin story for Superman, which is an amazing.
Best origin story for Superman, in my opinion, was Man of Steel.
That's a good one.
That was the...
John Byrne.
I still love, like, you just remember panels in your head. And my favorite one was him coming back to Smallville, and like just having this distraught look on his face. And Ma Kent comes running up to him,
Martha.
and he says, they wanted a piece of me. They all wanted a piece of me. And so that's when they decided he needed to have a costume, something to set him aside, apart from everybody. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I had just recently read a comic book series, which happens in, of course, an alternate DC universe,
I love that stuff.
which was DC Bombshells.
Oh yeah.
That
Oh god.
what? You don't like it?
For the biggest DC fan, you sure hate DC.
Yeah.
DC died to me. I'm wearing DC shoes for God's sake.
He has a
You know?
Batman
No,
tattoo.
not the skate DC brand. They have the Joker on them.
Yeah, they have Batman and Joker, and I got a Batman tattoo for God's sake. But DC died after story-wise, after 95, 98. I'll give them 2000. But as soon as 2002 hit and they started working their way up to the Flashpoint Paradox and then the New 52, it was just shit.
You didn't like Flashpoint?
I liked the idea that the Joker was Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne was Batman, but he just murked people with pistols. I liked that idea.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good.
They just killed him. Spoiler alert. They just killed him
Yeah.
in the latest issue of The Button with Batman and them. But,
Oh yeah. Dr. Manhattan.
yeah, that's the stupidest freaking play I've ever heard in my life. Let's take one of the single greatest graphic novels of all time and then screw with it because we can't write anything ourselves and can't create characters. Because, let's face it, after 1995, no new story arcs or new characters have been made that are worth a damn.
Well, I can't really argue with you there, but I think the problem with that is that there's less work for a lot of people. It used to be that comic books are what you aspired to. When I was a kid, people wanted to be comic book artists, and people wanted...
I want to direct
Ju-
comic book movies. I think
Right.
DC should just hire me to run their cinematic universe.
Yeah, but then you'd still be pissed off after 7 minutes because the suits would come in.
Yeah.
What my biggest fear is that Steve goes into the offices to finally wage his war against
Fox.
the execs, and it's some bearded nerdy guy who's got all the comic issues on there, and he's like, "How's it going, Steve? I'm very excited to meet
Yeah.
you."
And I'm going, how the fuck did you make a good movie? Look at your walls.
It's like a Doctor Doom cosplayer, Doctor Doom in the movie,
Hire cosplayers for your...
costume designers.
I want to go in with a binder just full of Batman comics and just start beating them to death with it. And
Yeah.
you already have the script. Just use this.
Okay, but let me ask you guys this as a quick slight change of topic. What did you think of the original Batman from the 80s? The movie.
Wait, 89?
Tim Burton
Yeah,
Batman?
Tim
Tim
Burton
Burton Batman?
Batman, yeah.
They're great.
Well,
Because Tim Burton was not a huge comic book
No.
fan, and his universe altered a lot.
and you see, and the thing is that Batman is kind of it's fitting with Tim Burton's world, but it's not like the comic book Batman at all. Because first of all, he's a murderer. He had no problem killing people.
Throwing them off
In-
90-story
In
buildings and stuff
funny,
like that.
cute ways, with dynamite and big holes
Now-
to throw them in,
Yeah,
and
that was
smiling
pretty
at
good.
them when he
Now-
does it.
You got to remember, you had to kind of put it in the context of time. I was an adult then, when that came out, and it blew my mind. And me and all my friends were like, holy crap.
Oh,
Jack Nicholson, fantastic. Michael Keaton was great. The first Batman movie I thought was incredible,
Yeah, if you thought...
And Nicholson's still not getting enough credit. I thought his
Yeah,
Joker was
I
fantastic.
will agree with that. Having recently rewatched that to kind of wash Jared Leto out of my
You have to
mind.
cleanse
As
your
the palate
palate.
cleanser.
Yeah, and I
It's
realized
like having
I was
a
like,
fine wine.
actually, I remember Nicholson being a lot worse in this role than what he was, but maybe my perspective has
Yeah.
changed now.
Oh, he was
But
great.
my high mark is still Mark Hamill for the
Well,
Joker.
yeah.
My high mark is always going to be Hamill.
Yeah. But see, that's even before Hamill. Because the animated series came out after that.
93 or 94 or something like that.
92, actually.
92 is when the animated series came out?
And the movie came out before that, didn't it?
88.
Yeah.
Mine-
Yeah. So
the
let's
first
see.
movie
So,
came out 89.
so see, To me, it was a mind blower. It's like, holy shit, this is amazing.
So it means in '97 would have been the end of the animated Batman series.
No, because they.
It
What
ended with-
happened?
You're my god.
You're my number one. I was like,
Jack Palance is great.
the way he says that though, because he's like saying, "Guy, you're my number one." But for some reason, like I remember watching the Jack Palance say it to him, and he says, "You're my number one guy," and then for some Jack Nicholson's version of it, just hearing it, it's like, "You're my number one." And I'm like, and I what? What's the rest of your story?
Yeah.
I always thought that the Burton Batmans they're still my favorite Batman films, but
But they're not beholden to the comics.
like McNasty said, they're nothing like the comics. But
No.
they did change the comics because they inspired the animated series, which created new characters and storylines that were adapted strictly for the comics.
That animated series invented Harley Quinn, and it changed Mr. Freeze forever.
If you've
Made
got a
Mr.
good
Freeze
story
boss.
and you have good actors, you don't necessarily have to follow the comics.
Yeah,
You know,
but the problem
I mean-
is these studios are so skewed. You got
Well, nowadays they're stupid. If
Would
we're going
they-
to change, we have to go in and kill everybody,
What they do is
and
that
then start from there.
they take a concept from a comic and they try to say it's that storyline, and then they add their own spin to everything
Right,
to make
well-
it an original piece of work, which they might not get writers' permission from that created that comic or something like that, so they have to just
most writers sign over the rights
to the story or
to
whatever.
the story unless you had a lot of pull like Alan Moore.
Alan Moore.
But,
And they don't listen to him. So.
Yeah, they don't listen to him. That guy's poor body. of
And
work.
he hates the Watchmen. Now, the Watchmen movie was great.
See, I thought it was.
I
I
hated
thought it
V
was.
for
the
Vendetta.
Watchmen.
I thought it was a
It's
very
fantastic.
faithful,
Oh, it was
except for the end, what they used to kill off everybody.
great. Which I thought the bomb was fine.
Yeah, it was pretty
It
genius.
actually makes more sense really than the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
it does.
but V for Vendetta was good.
V for Vendetta was good cinema, terrible adaptation of the comic.
Yeah.
But I
Just like
still,
the
if
lead.
you ask me which I prefer, having seen the movie first, I'm gonna go with the movie. I'm
See,
sorry, I love
I
Natalie
didn't.
Portman.
I didn't like that movie at all.
I love the movie,
I didn't-
and I love the comic just separately.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't get
what-
into that.
What
I
about
did-
League of Extraordinary
The
Gentlemen?
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I thought the movie was okay.
I
I thought
like-
the movie was great.
They-
I just love
it's-
Sean Connery, but
Yeah,
it's nothing
sure.
like the comic.
Thank
I-
you.
I
Thank you,
love-
Relic. I appreciate your thoughts.
I love that though in
40 no's
the
means
movie
yes.
adaptation, none of the characters are serial rapists like they are in the comic book. So.
Yeah, that was
Alan
pretty-
Moore has a strong favoring towards the reality that there are terrible people, and rape does occur. He doesn't shy away from it, which is what makes his stuff so controversial.
To be honest, I think he has he deals with it too much.
He would totally watch Dear God No a lot.
I think he's just batshit crazy.
He might.
yeah, I agree with that.
I
He
still-
might sit in his house and watch I Spit on Your Grave too much. I
Yeah,
get you,
yes,
but-
Yeah.
yes.
He, I still love the story he talked about with making John Constantine, where he said that one day this dude walked into a bar wearing a trench coat, and he looked over at him and he just winked at him and walked out, and it looked exactly like what he'd written, and I thought that was kind of hilarious. It's like
Yeah.
that. Well, you know, half of it you are in a pub, sir.
Well, he did write a semi-pornographic novel that Lost Girls is apparently pretty darn nasty. His wife was the artist on it.
I have not read that, but
Me
now
either.
I'm
It's called-
interested.
it's called Lost
You
Girls.
have piqued my
No,
interest.
It's
I-
called Lost Girls.
the
It's
thing
about,
is-
about fairy tale princesses that are.
Yeah, and the
Well,
thing is
askew.
it got in some trouble too. Like it had some legal stuff because they didn't know if it qualified as child porn. So
But it didn't. It got mainstream. Well, I shouldn't say mainstream because I remember,
Yeah.
when it came out, it was like $90, but you got like the whole set and stuff. But it was
Yeah. Well, you know, and that's where you get into some controversy and stuff with does drawn stuff constitute pornography, and I think intent is a big
Yeah.
is a
people
big
leave
thing.
porn
and-
alone.
Yeah.
So you have to take the story into account.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's-
I
it's
agree,
art.
so.
It's art.
And with Alan Moore, I don't think you can say that it isn't art,
Oh, no.
even though he does hypersexualize things.
Like H.R.
But-
Geiger, you know.
But you know, that's everybody that came up in the old
The
days.
alien's an actual dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually had a female naked body attached to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
So-
man. Sucks
And then-
he died. He was a great
We
artist.
we do need
Yes,
to
he
talk
was.
about one amazing Marvel superhero before we go that might be getting another scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Howard the Duck.
Oh God,
There
please
is
no.
talk he is returning. I'm excited for that, actually.
I-
I really liked
Are
the
you
Howard the Duck
serious?
film, so, you know.
Well,
You know what is funny is like everybody like universally pans on that, and I don't remember it giving me bad memories as a kid. I thought it was kick ass.
Yeah, I
It
thought
was
it was
terrible.
funny. I thought it was great.
terrible.
Plus, it had the mom from Back to the Future.
Yeah, she's hot.
Leah Thompson.
Leah
Oh
Thompson.
yeah,
hot as hell.
she was
just half
80s movie
naked
crush.
half the time. It was-
80s
Yeah.
movie crush.
Yeah.
But
It was great.
but
But the movie was terrible. I never
movie's-
liked the comic.
the comic is terrible. The movie's terrible.
Movie,
However, I would
Howard the
like
Duck
to see
was.
them bring George Lucas back to direct Howard the Duck.
I would not.
I
He's
feel like
probably the
you're-
reason it was terrible.
I feel like you're just trying to start shit. That's all I feel like
Don't-
right now.
don't-
That's all I feel like.
Pushing buttons, man.
all I
Don't
feel like
stir the
is-
pot unless you're gonna lick the spoon. All right, bud. Don't do it. George Lucas should retire into a hole in Louisiana and get eaten by a gator. Okay.
Well, it's
I
just,
said that on Star Wars Day, and I regret nothing.
look, you always gotta respect George Lucas as the Godfather, but you also have to realize that those movies would have been nothing if it wasn't for his ex-wife and all the other people that were around him, basically telling him no
And
at his
Spielberg.
stupid ideas.
And Spielberg.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because him and Spielberg made Indiana Jones 4. I mean,
They also made E.T.
They also made Sexy Jeff Goldblum. So
Goldblum's the man. All
Sexy
right,
Jeff
Sexy
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum is also the man.
yeah.
You bow down to that greatness.
All right. Well,
it's
I
just an
think,
anomaly.
I think
Who
that's
do they have Goldblum playing in Ragnarok? Who's he supposed
He's
to
the
be?
game master.
the game
Game
master, one of the
master on
elders of the
Planet-
elder,
universe.
the
On
collector's
Planet Hulk.
brother. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Has there been any casting before we wrap up? We're getting ready to wrap up. Before we wrap up, has there been any casting that you've kind of second guessed as far as Marvel's decisions?
Stan Lee is the Watcher being confirmed by Kevin Feige
Yeah,
and
yeah.
James Gunn.
I
That
don't
makes sense.
question that.
That makes
I don't
sense.
question that.
He's been seen in every Marvel
He's
movie.
actually supposed to be making a case in Guardians 2, spoiler alert. He's supposed to be talking to the Watchers or something like that and wrapping up all of his appearance in all the Marvel movies, talking about all of the times he did everything. So
That's cool.
He's
Yeah.
that's
I'm okay
his
with that.
cameo.
I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. Stan Lee's the man. Okay.
But other than that, any
Excelsior.
miscasting you guys have ever where you're like, that could have been somebody different.
To be honest, I think that I have in the past. I mean, I struggle to recall, but I think I have in the past. But I've been so pleasantly surprised so many times by Marvel
Yeah,
casting choices
I really
that I don't question
can't
them at
argue
all
with
anymore.
The
Yeah.
guy playing Iron Fist. I don't
He could
like
grow
him as an
into it.
actor. Nothing against him.
Yeah.
I didn't like him in Game of Thrones.
Well, I think he's fine. I just don't think he ended up. Again, I think Iron Fist was production problems,
yeah.
not acting problems.
If he hadn't gone on to movies, the other person I would have liked for Iron Fist is a dude who played Jax.
Yeah. Yeah, he'd been
On
good.
Sons of Anarchy, he'd have been pretty damn good.
Well, I mean, obviously you can't because of timelines and unfortunate deaths. But David Carradine would have made an awesome Iron Fist.
Damn belts and ceiling fans.
Yeah.
Nicholas Cage is Superman.
Yeah.
That was a terrible casting call.
Actually,
It never happened, but
no, it did. It did. There's a whole
Yeah, the
documentary.
whole
on
documentary
it.
about him.
There's
Yeah,
a
it
whole
was-
documentary
I've
on
heard
it.
it's good.
Yeah, I watched it. It was really it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Like,
I
George
own that
Clooney
documentary.
as Batman.
see,
still
that
like
was
it.
the one I
Still
thought was
like
the
it.
best.
I
Like I
like
just
it.
Nipples?
well,
Okay,
that's the thing. That has nothing.
Schumacher. That's
but
Schumacher, not
Here's the
Clooney.
thing: if you take that movie, just kick it away, but then say George Clooney as Batman before that ever came out, who here doesn't think that's the greatest idea
I
ever?
thought it was all right at the time.
Yeah, it was.
He
it was
just
fantastic.
came out of From Dusk Till Dawn. Just came out.
See, I
Yeah.
thought
You know, and you were just like, George Clooney's the man. Like, women
Yeah.
are like, I'd fuck him, and men are like, I'd fuck him. You know, it was just like,
guys got money. I don't know.
Steve and George Clooney up on Wyeth Hill.
Bastard.
Local humor.
Bastard. Yeah. But yeah, well, like when I heard Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker, I thought that was the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
yeah.
And I was like,
And
well,
his
I was
performance gave me
wrong.
hope for Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And
But
then
didn't
I
they
was
say
let
that-
down so hard, I think I
Well,
fell from a plane
supposedly,
and hit the ground.
The best part of Jared Leto was on the cutting room floor. Apparently, it was pretty good, but I don't know.
No, I refuse to believe that. He can't sing, he can't act, he should stop and leave Hollywood. Okay, Suicide Squad is the worst blemish. It's like herpes on the DCU.
And yet another nugget of wisdom from a resident DC fan.
Hey, okay? I am a fan, and I have a right to be upset with things, all right? And
Yeah.
if you're going to stick your thumb in the ass of everything I love, I should be able to grab its hand and help it squirm.
All right. But, all right, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to our first episode. Things are only going to get better from here. So
I don't know how. We set the bar pretty high.
Yep.
But, yeah, so again, you guys can catch us on our website at parttimepodcast.com. That's parttimepodcast.com with 1 T. And you can also catch us on Twitter at Real Part-Time Podcast or Facebook at the same address. So, all right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.